Hey folks, Brandon here. Welcome back to my re-review of the Balto sequence. Of course, today we're going to talk about Balto 3. Now, back then in my old review, I used to say that I preferred the second one over the third one. Guess what? That opinion has completely changed. You know why? Because Balto 3, Wings of Change, is the superior sequel. This is the sequel we should have gotten, not Balto 2. Why? Because Balto 3 has everything that the first Balto movie had, or somewhat of it. It had them going off into an adventure, facing treacherous things, not looking for yourself, finding out who you are, spiritual, supernatural stuff that doesn't belong in a movie like this. But anyway, the plot for Balto 3 is Balto's son, or one of his sons, Cody, who's played by Sean Austin, who actually does a very decent job playing him, is on a sled dog team whose job is to deliver mail all across Nome, Alaska. However, they're being challenged by a new wave of sending mail, which is by an airplane. So, they decide to have a little race between the sled dog team and against an airplane to see who's faster at delivering mail. And so, this sled dog team is led by Balto. So it's father and son going against this brand new machine back in the 1920s. Now, you would think that's the whole movie, but it isn't. Turns out the plane crashes halfway throughout the race, and so it's up to Balto and his friends to go out and find the pilot, who Balto's become quite fond of. This is the superior movie. I mean, the superior sequel, at least. This is the sequel we should have gotten in the first place from the first Balto movie. I was very biased at first, because I would always talk with Dan, and he said he liked the third one, and I never understood why he liked the third one more. And I can't believe why I chose the second one over the third one back then. Today, I watched both of them today, it's a completely new opinion. Granted, I did say something that still sort of drives on back then, is that the climax, or like the whole giant adventure thing they have, isn't as good. It's very lackluster. And I will say though that is sort of reminiscent here. But I think I can justify that, because this movie is incredibly short. It's about an hour and 20 minutes long, and so there isn't a lot they can add in it. Otherwise it would be, or even rip off from the first Balto movie, which they do at one point. In fact, that's another thing I forgot to address. There are some things that do take from the very first movie, like in Balto 2, they fight a bear, which they did in the first movie. In this one, they go across an ice bridge which begins to crumble, which happened in the first Balto movie as well. But other than that, yeah, it doesn't have like a gigantic, satisfying finale to it, like a whole giant climax, but it's still pretty good. It's pretty decent. And that's far better to say than the second sequel. Of course, there are some bad things about it. For one thing, the songs. The songs do not belong here. In the second one, they didn't belong there, but they were decent at least. Here, they're really just unnecessary. Jenna sings in this movie. Jenna, it's freaking, all it takes is for Balto to start singing. It's the nail on the freaking coffin. It's pointless. But speaking of pointless, there's one character in this movie that has gotten a lot of hate and says there's nothing to her. Stella. Stella, there's a side story going on in Balto 3 where Boris meets a girl, Goose, named Stella, who's obviously attracted to him. And they want to fly together, but the problem is Boris doesn't know how to fly, or at least he's afraid of heights, that's why he can't fly. Which begs the question, how the hell did he get from Russia all the way to Nome, Alaska? But whatever. So anyway, the problem with Stella is she a bad character? Yeah. Does she have nothing to contribute to the story? Of course. She just feels pointless. She doesn't feel like she belongs here. We could have done the entire movie without her. I don't want to say the same thing for Cody, because I actually like Cody. I actually like the fact that they show us what happened with Balto's kids after they grown up. I liked Cody in this movie, but I do not like Stella. She even sings a song in this movie, which is just, where did that come from? That doesn't belong here. That's just freaking there. Disgusting. Not disgusting, but just bad, really. But anyway, Balto 3 is highly entertaining, a lot more entertaining than the second movie, almost to the first movie, almost. But of course, there are some things that hold it back, like of course the animation isn't as good. There are some silly little moments between Boris and Stella, unfortunately. And the songs, good God, the songs. There's only two of them, but they both are just, And the beginning and ending theme to it is, no, it's decent, but it's no reach for the light from the first movie, no it isn't. But still, Balto 3 is actually a really good sequel, because I like the fact that they actually bothered to build up the sort of plot that actually makes sense. It's the 1920s, and they're going against, they're trying to fight against what will they're postponing the inevitable, that they were going to be replaced. The way of mailing has changed. They're going to be replaced by airplanes or trains or anything like that. And they're going against that. They're going against the odds to put an end to that. And when this pilot gets in trouble, when he crashes, when he has no help coming for him, Balto tries to get his son to go, but his son is disagreeable to that because this is the guy who's trying to take my job. He's trying to get us all out of what we do best. He doesn't want to give up what he loves to do. So that really puts a struggle between Balto and his son in this movie. Balto 3, I would just highly recommend to anyone. I would even recommend for them to watch this movie over the second one. Because the second one just doesn't have a lot going for it. It's a decent film, but it's not the sequel for Balto I was expecting. This is the sequel for Balto that fans deserve. This is the one that's far better. It's entertaining. It feels like it takes right after the second movie. They even mention characters from the first movie that weren't even mentioned in the second one, like that Rosie, or that dog who has that telegraph problem. He always has that nervous twitch of him. They mentioned that here, because it actually shows that whoever directed this, a completely different director, took charge of the third movie, actually bothered to watch Balto 1, and take off from there. So, Balto fans, definitely recommend. If you want to see Balto 2, Wolf Quest, go ahead. It's not a bad film. I enjoyed it. But this is the superior sequel. Balto 3 is the superior sequel, despite the fact that Jenna sings and Stella's pointless and all those little things. Even the climax, even though it isn't that big. And then again, you could argue that the runtime for the first one was very short too. They added so much to it, so why couldn't they do it with this one? Agreed. But still, far better sequel. Take a look at it, please. So with that, I hope you enjoyed my new reviews on both Balto 2 and 3. I am very surprised at how much my opinion has changed after taking time out of the day to actually watch both these movies together, side by side, and I realized that a lot of things can change. A lot of opinions can change, even on movies that I've completely despised, like Sick. Yeah, Sick was bad, but it certainly isn't the worst movie ever made. I've seen some of those. But in any case, though, Balto sequels, completely different opinion. Balto 2, okay. Balto 3, the much better sequel. So, then again, I'd like to thank you all for watching this review, and I'll see you all next time.